everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Flock's Nest Sports Podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Dallas, reppin' 52 of the Baltimore Ravens, Ray Lewis.
As always, I'm the half Brendan, repping 54, Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks.
We got a great episode for you guys today. Obviously, we are going to talk a lot of NFL. There have been some breaking news there with training camp just right around the corner. We are going to talk NBA, WNBA, very minimal news in the NHL. MLB All-Star Game was this past weekend, so we're going to talk about that. And we are going to begin our breakdown of the AFC
East.
So we're going to talk
Bills and Dolphins.
Bills and Dolphins. Jesus fuck. We're going to talk the Bills and the Dolphins. So we're going to get right into it. Brendan, So little news in the NHL. Let's start there. What happened?
If we want to consider this breaking news, the NHL has one thing. The Toronto Maple Leafs have made a trade with the Vancouver Canucks. The Toronto Maple Leafs received Dakota Joshua in exchange for a 2028 fourth-round pick. So a fourth-round pick in 3 years is going to Vancouver. That's it. Literally, that's the NHL news. Thank you for joining us for the NHL portion of today. That's what we got for you.
And moving on.
Yeah.
All right. Not a big name, not
anything.
Headlining teams, honestly. So.
I mean, I guess Toronto is, because Toronto is the, face of the NHL.
Okay,
Toronto
the Cowboys is the pace of the NFL and win something, and we'll talk about it.
And that's how I feel. But
I get it. I do. You build a face becomes a brand. It happened decades ago, but win something.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Let's talk NBA.
So the NBA does have a little more to talk about. We'll start with Bradley Beal has been bought out by the Phoenix Suns and is signing a 2-year, $11 million contract with the Los Angeles Clippers. So the Suns get out of Beal's ridiculous contract, and the Clippers get him for pretty cheap. He joins a pretty veteran Clippers team. Obviously went to the playoffs this year. Hopefully that team can stay healthy and they can push for more playoffs in the future. That's kind of the thought with this move. We'll see. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, he never quite lived up to the hype. Hasn't
really
helped the Suns. The Suns had a lot of hope for the way Beal and Durant and all of them would work out, and it didn't. So the Clippers made the playoffs this year. Definitely want to look at moving forward in the playoffs. So we shall see.
Could be an interesting depth piece for the Clippers. Obviously, the Suns this offseason are taking a very much a rebuild approach to the offseason.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense considering they were a little bit of an older team. So fair enough to the Suns. I think they're starting to get out of that era of Phoenix where just not enough, really, is the best way to put it. Made it to the one championship, lost.
And they don't have a future in front of them right now. They don't have a young superstar or budding. So
the Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal trade have a lot to do with that.
Yeah, definitely. They had a very old, very veteran team. And veterans that aren't main guys. They're great role players. So we'll see what the Suns continue to do, and hopefully this is a good depth piece for the Clippers.
Yeah. And then currently the NBA is doing their summer league, so preseason. All the rookies get to play in this. Some older guys trying to make teams. really the main talking points right now is Cooper Flag has looked pretty decent with the Mavericks, um, looking like the number one overall pick. Bronny James has shown moments with the Lakers, but has been pretty inconsistent. And overall, the summer league has just kind of been meh, in my opinion. Not a
Yeah,
whole ton of like interesting things happening, but there are some cool things with like Cooper Flag, Bronny, some of the other picks this year kind of making their mark. Um,
the storylines, I think, is what makes Summer League mildly intriguing. It's not really the basketball part of it.
no, no,
To Cooper Flag's side of things, everything I've seen, people need to calm down. Like, first couple of games, the NBA is different. It's a different sport. It's a different pace.
and truthfully, summer league is not a good
Like,
representation of
yeah.
like anything. You're playing with
So,
guys that aren't NBA players. You're playing with pretty much guys that aren't gonna make teams for the most
yeah,
part. Like obviously there are some like San Antonio is a team that has a lot of probably NBA talent on their summer league team just because they have a ton of picks. Same with the Thunder; they've had a ton of picks
yeah.
to where they have young guys that are on the summer league team that are pretty decent. Um, the Mavericks are not really in that position,
They're not one of them.
so at the end of the day, he's kind of playing with nobodies, um,
Yeah.
which does make a difference when it's a team sport. Basketball is one that you need the other four guys on the floor to succeed. So for the most part, I think he's having a pretty decent summer league. He is showing why he was the number one overall pick and why he was very hyped up coming out of college. And I think that's important. Obviously, we'll see what he does in the regular season for the Mavericks once he gets a actual team around him with Anthony Davis, Kyrie halfway through the season will come back. I think he has D'Angelo Russell now as his starting point guard, so there is a team there. Obviously, we'll see what he does. Um, so summer league's been a good gauge, but it's never going to be the end all be all.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Um, I just do. I think to put a lot of stock in summer, I feel the same way about it as I kind of do preseason football. Like, it's
Yeah,
just not. I If it looks good, cool. But like you said, you're not playing with or playing against real NBA players. If it looks bad, you're not playing with or against real NBA players. So
like obviously you
there
want to
just
see
has to
more
be a
good,
level.
but
Yeah, but there has to be a level of patience and a level of context that we add to these things.
yeah,
And again, they're two different sports. It takes a minute. So I liked what I've seen. I will be intrigued to see what the Mavericks look like this year.
yes. And then
As
quickly,
for Bronny, I just don't
it's
think. I
him.
mean,
Yeah, like we're always going to talk about him because
yeah.
of who he is.
Until he actually makes or is on the NBA team, it just is.
Yeah, but that's been the storylines. There
Of
have been
course.
some other names, but truthfully, haven't been paying enough attention to summer league because it's just not good basketball at the end of the day.
No, no, it's not.
Um, but quickly, we'll talk about the Denver Nuggets because it is my team. They're 0-3. There's literally no surprise there. They do not have picks to build a summer league team. The only player that matters on their summer league team is Deron Holmes, and he's looked pretty decent. He was their first round pick last year. He's looked good. He was hurt all of last season with an Achilles tear. He looks decent. Beyond that, the Nuggets aren't very good in summer league. That shouldn't be a surprise to literally anybody.
No,
But that's where we're at.
they don't have a ton of picks. They don't have much of a bench. But it's good to see him out there,
Yeah,
getting some reps in, getting some practice in, coming off the Achilles. So hopefully, when the regular season starts, he's not so sluggish to get his feet back
And
underneath him.
that's also what the summer league's good for. Is kind of you can't really allow older players to play, but younger players coming off injuries can. Um,
Yeah.
and some of these again rookies or guys trying to make rosters, this is their chance to hopefully prove that they can do it or get back into playing shape. Um, so that's what the summer league's for. It's just preseason, but so far, I would say it's going all right for most teams.
Yeah.
But beyond that,
Awesome.
that's what we got for the NBA. Not a whole ton going on. No real surprises there.
Awesome. Well, then we will move on to the WNBA. As y'all know, I've been following the Valkyries, so just some little news going on there. I was vocally upset with the Caitlyn Chen situation during preseason, as many people were. And then when the EuroLeague happened and they lost some players to that, they re-signed Chen. I thought once again she would get cut. Instead, she beat out Julie Vanlo for the bench spot, so they cut her and waived Stephanie Talbot. So she has actually become an active member. She's averaging about 20 minutes a game right now. She made her first appearance in their hype video 2 days ago in their loss to the Suns. So we're seeing her get real time. She has vastly improved just in the short time we saw her during preseason in terms of shooting percentage and her defense. Watched the game against the Fever, and she got multiple steals from Caitlin Clark. So it's been really excited to see her addition. I think at this point she is a member of the team, and I think she's going to stay there at least for the remainder of this season. And that's been great to see. It's been great to see the way her team has rallied around her and the improvements she's made, and that she didn't let it discourage her. She went out and continued to put the work in, and we're seeing that now. And that's been awesome. And as someone getting into women's basketball and someone getting into the Valkyries, I love to see this. I thought it was great.
Nice.
With the Valkyries, they're currently on break. They actually have a little over a month off as the All-Star game is this weekend. The WNBA does take a multi-week break for the All-Star game, but the Valkyries actually have, because of how their schedule landed, an extended time off. They don't play again until August 20-something.
Jeez.
So, yeah. But looking forward to the All-Star game. Obviously, Caitlin versus Collier's team. So we'll see kind of how that goes, what all competitions everyone participates in. And we'll talk about that more next week. But just a little WNBA action.
Nice. I guess on the WNBA, I did watch a game. I watched
Okay.
the Liberty and Fever game. Unfortunately, Caitlin Clark did not play, so that kind of
Yeah.
turned into watching it to it is on.
It's on. It's on.
Um,
Um,
but
an announcer whose name I don't know. So I apologize that I'm going to quote them. If I remember the name, maybe we'll drop it in the comments. Former, or not an announcer, but like a halftime analyst kind of thing,
ah,
said that she had the same injury as Caitlin and still feels it today, well into retirement. So I don't know. I get coming back. I understand that they're trying to make the playoffs again. I understand what they're trying to do. I really think this needs to be a sit-em.
well,
Like,
hopefully with the All Star break coming up, she gets some much
she gets
needed
there.
time off.
I don't know that we're gonna see her the way everybody was kind of hoping we would. But we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully, she takes the All Star break to rest, recover, and then evaluate from there. Obviously. But yeah, watch the game. It's pretty interesting. Biggest takeaway is the Liberty are very good, and the Fever without Clark are not. So that's where we're at.
So the Liberty are very good. The Fever without Caitlin are decent, but the Fever without Caitlin against the Liberty are not.
Okay. It was. Yeah, I was watching it. Obviously, I knew of Sabrina Ionescu. I think that's how they were saying it, and then Brianna Stewart was the other one.
Yeah.
Both big players in WNBA. And then I was gonna watch it because I thought Caitlin might be playing, but obviously she got the rest, so wasn't a big deal. But yeah, did watch it. Thought it was interesting. That's where we're at. That's the extent of my WNBA knowledge, guys. I'm here.
There you go. It's all good. I got WNBA. You have the MLB, which is what we will cut to now. They had their All-Star game this past weekend, like we mentioned.
Yep.
So, Brennan, talk to us about that.
So first of all, we'll talk about the home run derby because that is pretty much the only interesting thing with the All-Star game, in my opinion.
100%.
Like the All-Star game itself is fine, but the home run derby is actually like entertaining to watch. Cal Riley, the catcher for the Seattle Mariners, who currently leads the league in home runs, won the home run derby. Wow, what a shock! Obviously, really cool. I think he's only like the second Seattle Mariner to win one. I know he is the most recent since Ken Griffey Jr. to win one. So really good for the Mariners. Obviously, a team I've been kind of watching more of because of where we're located. And because I'm a Seahawks fan. Might as well see what we got going on in Seattle. So yeah, congrats to them, Cal Riley, for winning the home run derby. I think he beat O'Neal Cruz. Well, no, he beat Junior Casanero, I think is how you say his name. In the final, he beat O'Neal Cruz in the semis to get there. I will admit, Cruz did hit, I think, the furthest home run, and it was out of the park. It fully left the ballpark, so that was pretty cool. That was definitely a fun moment. Unfortunately, he did end up losing to Riley, or Rayleigh. I have no idea how you actually say his name. I do apologize. But overall, it was a fun home run derby. It always kind of is. It's the nice thing about the All-Star game is the home run derby. What can I say? So yeah, home run derby was cool. The actual game itself was all right. The National League won. Go them. They like never win, so this is actually kind of surprising. It's normally the AL that wins. Kyle Schwarber of the Philadelphia Phillies was named MVP of the game. I believe he hit a home run during the game. So go him. That's pretty much it. Like the All-Star game to me is just not why I would watch. The All-Star game itself is not why you watch All-Star Weekend for baseball.
Yeah.
Now that the All-Star Week, though, is done, they also had their draft this week. But truth be told, the MLB draft is kind of nuts. There is 20 rounds, and every team picks in each of those. There's over 600 players picked in the MLB draft, which is insane. So not a whole ton to talk about there because it's huge. And a lot of these players you won't see. It's like in the NHL. You won't see them for a couple years. There are guys being drafted out of high school.
Yeah.
So there's that. But that's pretty much it with the MLB. But now that those are over, we're starting to get into the interesting part of the MLB season. So we're going to start paying more attention to actual games, how people are doing, what it's looking like the playoffs are going to be. The trade deadline will be coming up. So obviously there will be more news with baseball coming up soon. So if you're interested about baseball, stick with us. We'll definitely be covering more of it as the next couple weeks progress.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, now that we've gotten everything else out of the way, into the minutia.
Yeah.
Into the NFL. Obviously, Brennan and I's first and foremost love. Let's start with breaking news because there is some actual breaking news.
Yes.
Finally,
The first one might not seem like it. The Chicago
I think it's
Bears.
a big deal.
The Chicago Bears have extended GM Ryan Poles for 5 years, so he is now signed through the 2029 season. Fair enough, I guess. He has done all right with the Bears, but I don't know if he's necessarily warranted a 5-year extension. Kind of see.
I feel like shit. What's his name? Ben Johnson.
Yes.
Authorized that.
That could
because
be.
we have seen Ryan Poles kind of struggle to put together a team over the last few years. Last year, everyone went into it thinking, on paper, it's a really good team. There's just maybe some coaching issues. Then Ben Johnson got hired and immediately kind of took over the roster aspect of the team.
Yeah.
You know, all of the moves we saw this offseason with the O-line and the additions, you know that came from Ben Johnson. So I'm not sure how much credit Poles should be getting. So I think if you're going to offer him an extension, especially
a 5-year
one of that
one,
length, when the average is 3, I find it interesting. I do think Ben Johnson should have had a say in that.
And I do believe he did, considering
Yeah.
this is who you're working with. I think for his entire I think he also got a 5-year contract this year.
So that wouldn't necessarily surprise me. And then, you know, they're getting ready to have their first season together. They just had their first off season together. Seeing how they work and what this team looks like is one of the biggest storylines going into the season. There was all the hype around Caleb and what the Bears could be. And Ben Johnson is supposed to be kind of
the person to unlock
this new Shanahan and, you know, this
McVay,
new generation of McVay and just this offensive minded genius. And so what can the Bears become that they've never been before? So
yeah, and obviously Poles has done some good in his time. Like,
yeah,
obviously the trade with the Panthers that got the Panthers Bryce Young was really good for the Bears. So Poles has been a very aggressive GM in his time with trades. So there's some good, there's some not so good. I think now with Ben Johnson, who has a clear vision for what he wants to do, I do think that'll definitely help Poles out.
I think having a competent head coach that has a vision helps.
Yeah. So if it works out for the Bears, great.
Great.
Also, GMs are one where you kind of can pay 2 at a time. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't, they will move on. It will be interesting to see if that happens. But beyond that, he gets the 5-year extension. All the luck to him.
Yep.
Continuing on extensions, we now got player extensions. The first of which came out of New York. The New York Jets have given Garrett Wilson, their star wide receiver, a 4-year, $130 million extension with $90 million guaranteed. Pretty big extension for Garrett Wilson. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, the quarterback situation in New York is not great.
Interesting.
He is one of their few weapons there. Obviously, came off, I believe, a rookie. He's a former Rookie of the Year winner. So we'll see what happens there.
I was pretty surprised by this. Wilson has been want to say vocal because I definitely think it could have been worse, but he has not been quiet about his frustrations in New York.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, to be fair, he's never had a competent quarterback.
he has not. Now, Justin Fields and him go back to college, and he publicly has supported and has been excited for Fields. We'll see.
We'll see how long that lasts into the season.
Yeah, and we'll see what Fields is this season.
My guess
with
is
a true wide receiver, honestly, because he didn't really have one with the Bears, so I think that's interesting.
And then even with the Steelers, he had Pickett, but honestly, that system was not built for him to be throwing the ball a whole ton.
No.
So,
and the Jets have said that their goal is to let him be himself. So we'll see. But I was a little surprised he signed a real contract in New York.
Yeah. Obviously, congrats to him, and we'll kind of see how it goes for New York and him. Keeping it up, the Chiefs get a actual contract extension done with Trey Smith. He was obviously on the franchise tag this year, but they do get him on a 4-year deal now. So he's now locked up and good to go for the next 4. I didn't see any payment, like any financial info on this one for some reason. I don't know if that was just something that just didn't get released when I was looking, but I haven't seen any updated on it. So apologies for not having the numbers. Couldn't find them. See if I can find them later. But yeah, their best offensive lineman locked up for 4 years. Pretty decent. Obviously, Mahomes is going to need good offensive linemen. So I think this is... Well, he's got a right guard. So good luck to him.
That'll do it. No, I mean, good for him. The Chiefs are not typically one to spend money just to spend money.
Yes.
So, obviously, a contender. I believe he does have a Super Bowl with them. So,
I believe so.
Good for him.
Obviously, Mahomes probably was the main reason this got done the way it did.
Oh, yeah.
He absolutely needs him, wanted him on the team. At that point, it was a done deal. So, there you go. Moving back to the Jets. Should have done this earlier. Kind of forgot it happened. They have signed Sauce Gardner, their star corner, to a new extension. Came in the same draft as Garrett Wilson. He had won Defensive Rookie of the Year that year. So they had the 2 Rookie of the Years that year. He's getting a 4-year, $120.4 million deal. That makes him the highest paid corner in the league and of all time. Pretty big contract to be given someone coming off their rookie contract, but he's been pretty solid for them. We'll kind of see how this contract ages in the future.
He's been solid. There's also a level of when you are constantly losing.
Yes.
And your offense is not that good. And you spend a lot of time on the field. Corners get worn down a lot easier. They get frustrated a lot easier. Those issues pop up. So I think he's talented.
Yes.
And I think he is a very good corner. I think over the last couple of years, though, we haven't seen his max potential because of overall team dynamic and success.
And I will also just throw this out there. I'm not judging this contract. I'm not judging him that much. He has not shown very good takeaway potential. Doesn't have a lot of interceptions and hasn't really his whole career. So obviously, I think that could be a reason this contract doesn't age very well. If I'm paying personally, if I'm going to pay a corner top dollar, it needs to be someone that is elite in coverage, and I do think he is elite in coverage. But I think he does not have takeaway ability as much as I would like personally in a corner I'm paying the most.
That amount of money. And that
Now,
is perfectly fair.
obviously, that can change. Again, I said we'll see how this contract ages, because if he does put it all together and starts upping his ball production, this contract will look great for the
Yeah.
Jets. Even if he doesn't up his production, I still think this is going to be a fine contract. Deservingly of the top paid corner, no, but he'll still be
At
relatively deserving of
minimum,
this.
it doesn't hurt the Jets right now
Yes.
because you're not paying Justin Fields a lot. Even if you go out and draft a quarterback next year, it's a rookie deal. I can't think of a true veteran that would be I have one veteran that I think has the potential to hit the open market at the end of this season, and he will not make Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, Allen kind of money.
Yeah.
So you don't have to fight with that. So I
It
get
doesn't.
wanting to keep these kind of superstars and being able to pay them a little more right now, but I absolutely get where you're coming from is for an all-time contract, especially coming off of your rookie contract, would like to see a little more in takeaway. And I get that. I respect
Yeah.
that.
And again, we'll see how it ages. But so far, not my favorite deal, but
That's fair.
we'll see. Um, and then I think the biggest contract extension news came not even an hour ago. The
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers have re-signed T.J. Watt to the most expensive non-quarterback contract of all time. This is the second time he is now paid as the highest non-QB in his career. He is making $123 million over the next 3 years. So that's $41 million per year. I believe $108 million of that is fully guaranteed at signing. So huge contract,
Yeah.
but absolutely deserving of it. He is absolutely, I think,
100%.
the best non-quarterback player in the league. I don't know if that's really a question. You can make the argument for some others in there, but in my opinion, he would be the best non-quarterback in the league.
It's an interesting statement. I don't disagree with you. I think the thing that makes TJ Watt what he is and who he is, and this isn't to discredit any other position. Um he is not quarterback dependent. You
Fair,
know,
yeah,
you can make the argument for like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, but they're quarterback dependent. Um
and
Running backs are O-line and quarterback dependent. TJ Watt does not give a damn who runs alongside him,
yeah.
what his D line looks like, or
Well,
who
the
you are. He will bust it up.
so for my money, he's the best. I can see the arguments for Chase, Jefferson, Garrett, some of the other really big name.
I like it. I like it. I think it's deserving. I think there are very few players nowadays that are not quarterbacks that you see give that kind of effort all season long, no matter where
What?
their team
Yeah.
is at, what team success looks at. He goes out and gives it
And
110% every day. And to get that kind of money and that much up front, his agent and himself are not unaware of his age and his injury
yes,
history. But when you play the way he does and way the Watts are known to, that is pretty common.
yes. So
So, congratulations to him. It's a
yeah,
great deal. As the Steelers, I don't think I would have done it, but congratulations to him.
as the Steelers, it's tough because I think really he's the reason you win football games at the end of the day.
And I think at this point, he is the face of that franchise. Like him and Tomlin are the face of that
And
franchise.
at this point, I think getting rid of him does more bad than good.
That's fair. If I was going to,
It's really tough.
I would have done it before this draft.
Yeah. I would have done it before all of the other contracts hit.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Because with
Now, you need him. You
yeah.
definitely need him if you're going to win football games
So
this year.
at the end of the day, I don't see him. Like, the problem was, I just can't visualize him playing for any other team but the Steelers.
No, it's really hard. It's really hard.
So,
Um, just.
again, he's making.
But we have said,
lot.
if y'all have seen some of our videos, I sometimes have hot takes and then insane takes for organizations.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this would have been an insane one, but it's maybe what I would have done.
Yeah.
So.
Again.
Or I would have maybe waited a year when next year's quarterback class is
better. Potentially
cool.
better.
Congratulations to him.
Now, I'll say the only reason I wouldn't have waited a year is the whole Micah Parsons situation. So now, depending on what his contract could have been, you're paying TJ Watt even more. Now, if I'm the Cowboys, you're fucked. You're fucked.
This is the problem. This is the problem with the Cowboys, right? This is what they do. They wait, and they wait. And the price tag, amazingly enough, always goes up.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, they had waited, and Parsons had been seriously hurt, heaven forbid, it's a little different. But he didn't. He went out. He had a decent season. The team success obviously wasn't there, but Micah's individual success is.
And he is the.
And then you look at the other people at his position group who are older, have a higher risk of injury, making that much money. It is not unreasonable for Micah's agent to go 45.
And then Dallas then has the problem of, if they pay him 42 to 45 million, they now have the highest quarterback per year and the highest non-quarterback per year on their roster.
Yeah.
So.
And a wide receiver making not the highest, but a lot of money. So you now have 3 players making 50% of your cap.
And top of the market at the positions. Other than.
And historically, when you have a player on the roster at the top of their position, I don't have the chart in front of me. I saw it the other day, so I apologize. It's another one if I see it. If you pay any player the top of their position, you do not win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, you need a good team.
Because you need a roster. You need a roster. So I don't know. That's really what this does. I'm happy for TJ Watt. Obviously, as the Steelers, I maybe would have made a different choice. But this now brings up more problems for the Cowboys. And I'm going to be honest with you, after Myles Garrett got done, you should have signed it then. Because you knew you should have done it last year, because you knew TJ Watt was coming up.
Yeah.
And you knew Myles Garrett was coming up.
So it's a problem for the Cowboys.
I'd probably deal him.
I think they might, but we'll see.
I would have dealt CeeDee Lamb and done something differently over there, but it's too late for that. So I would have dealt Micah.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on. Some other just quick breaking news. The Washington Commanders have signed Von Miller to a contract. So he stays in the league, goes to Washington to be a veteran presence on the D line. I think that's fine for them. I don't know how much he's got left in the tank, but
Yep.
he's still solid. Hopefully, can help them on that defense. Should be pretty decent.
It's interesting that they added him with Bobby Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
He's had some off the field issues the last couple years. When he went to Buffalo, it didn't have the impact they were hoping it would have. Either this is Vaughn's kind of last stop, or this is the beginning of we spend a season here, a season there, and we jump around. Honestly,
yeah. We'll see.
Is this? I think obviously he was great in Denver. We both
Yep.
grew up with the Broncos. Loved watching him play with Peyton Manning and getting that Super
And
Bowl.
he'll
I
always be
think
a
the
legend.
way he was treated and the defense was treated in Denver following Peyton Manning is kind of the roughest stories. It's what we're seeing the Steelers now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's kind of come to an end.
Yeah. He'll forever be a legend in Denver.
Yeah.
Obviously got the Super Bowl MVP when they won it. But at this point, he's kind of just by the wayside.
Yeah.
So, congrats to him for at least getting another contract. We'll see what he does in Washington in a limited role. He does at least have a good defensive head coach, so that could help.
But he had a decent defensive head coach in Buffalo.
But I would argue Dan Quinn's better.
Okay, that's not invalid. I'm just noting.
We'll see. And then kind of unfortunate news coming out of the Chargers. Wide receiver Mike Williams is announcing his retirement. He has played 8 seasons in the NFL, has been a pretty productive wide receiver when healthy, but the key word is when healthy. Spends a lot of time on the injured list. So many injuries. I think that is why he's ending his career. Too many injuries.
Well, he was going to start this season on
the injured list.
So I think
you might as well just
he was just done.
Hang it up. So congrats to him on his career. Obviously, again, productive when healthy, just couldn't stay healthy. So injuries suck, but I think the Chargers will move on, and I think he'll move on and have a pretty decent career on whatever he decides to do next.
And then I forgot to put it in. Did you see Najee Harris?
No.
He also starts training camp on the injured list because he had a 4th of July fireworks accident with his face.
I did see that it was his eye. He should be fine going into the season. It shouldn't keep him out. There's no real damage, but they're holding him for a little bit. So this is why you don't play with fireworks.
So the Chargers are loving some of their additions.
Yeah. You would
starting off really well.
You would think NFL players would learn from Jason Pierre-Paul on not to play with fireworks, but
you would think
they don't.
That athletes would just learn from stupid people. But okay. Yeah, like your body is worth millions. I would do a lot to protect it. So
well, I guess speaking of,
we all make choices though.
Athletes being stupid at making choices.
Make choices.
Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has been sentenced to 30 days in prison and 5-year probation. Those 30 days can be served at any time during those 5 years. This is going to come with a suspension from the NFL. They have not confirmed what the suspension will be yet, but he will be suspended. Yep. We don't really know for how long. I kind of imagine they might line it up to be a roughly quite a lengthy one so that he can just serve his prison time during suspension. That would
Yeah.
be my guess on how the NFL does it, but we'll see.
And I know the Chiefs haven't released a statement as the NFL is still conducting its investigation
Yes.
to decide what they're going to do and what their suspension will look like. I mean, look, this was a really unfortunate incident. A lot of people got hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and the NFL does not take that lightly. So
No.
we will see, and we will see how the Chiefs respond. I know he's a good offensive weapon for them, and he has a lot of talent, but
But
some things can't be overlooked, and some things can't be overcome.
yes.
So,
So
depending on what that suspension looks like, it could impact his tenure in Kansas City.
and in the NFL,
Yeah.
period.
So, we shall see.
And then the absolute last piece of breaking news. Um, this kind of comes from the Bengals. Uh, we had mentioned the Shamar Stewart situation, him holding out. Um, there's been some reports that he could possibly return to the NCAA and play for Texas A&M again if he chooses. If he doesn't want to sign the contract, he could return to college and play. I have some information on that, on how that would work. So in Article 6 of the NFL, blah, 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 if he decided to return to college, the Bengals would retain his draft rights. Meaning, if he returned to college, the Bengals would be able to sign him still. He would not re enter the draft. He would not do anything like that. He's still the Bengals player. They retain all of his rights. Two things on the matter. First of all, the NCAA does not technically allow that to happen. So the NCAA would have to waive, I think, some rules to get him back into the NCAA. I do believe he does have eligibility left with the NCAA. I think he came out as a junior. So he does have a year of eligibility left. But the NCAA tends to not allow people that declare for the draft return to college football. That just tends to be the case. We'll see. Second point is before all that happens, there is going to be more discussions. And truth be told, I don't think he will be allowed to return to the NCAA. And there will be several things that lead to the potential for him to be one, not picked up by the Bengals if that happens, and some other things. So this whole situation is kind of interesting because we really have never seen this before.
Yeah.
At least I've never heard of a player trying to go back to college after being drafted in the first round.
So I can't help but wonder if
A him thing or a Bengals
it's
thing,
not
or
necessarily about returning to college. It's simply about getting out of the Bengals.
and I think that's the
Um,
case.
Unfortunately, that's not how that works.
Yes,
Like, you're better off seeing if the Bengals would
would
trade
trade
you
you.
to another NFL team. Um, and given
The Bengals.
how we've seen the Bengals operate,
That's just not likely.
it's not likely. I think the most likely outcome is they force you to get something done with them. I think this is really simple. I think if that clause is removed, they move on. I also think there's potential that as a rookie, and a rookie coming off of the first wave of NIL, there's a level of no.
This is not a great look.
I will not sign the contract no matter what it looks like at this point, because I will not be tied to an organization that wants to operate in this manner.
I
Um, so we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what this is going to look like. Like Brendan said, like we've said multiple times, this is a first.
like there
Um,
are holdouts. There are like currently there's a lot of second round picks holding out. We'll get into that in a little bit.
yeah,
That's actually ending now. Um, but this wasn't like players do hold out, but it's never like this. They're
yeah,
normally at least sometimes in the building. They're really in communication with the team a lot. It's normally about small shit in the contract.
yeah. Or like we're going to talk about levels of guarantees.
This is
Um,
very different.
this is different. This is different, and it sets. I don't want to say it dangerous, but it sets a precedent. Um, and once these rules start to get made, it's a snowball effect.
Yeah.
NIL changes the NFL. It does. And we are seeing that permeate. And we are seeing. We're seeing kind of the first real power struggle between a player and a franchise.
Yeah.
And usually the franchise wins.
Wins.
And that's with the player having a little more to them. A rookie, that's a little harder. So I don't think he's wrong. I don't disagree with what's happening.
But at this point,
Um,
I think you are doing yourself more harm than good.
I think you're doing your potential future and career more harm.
So
And
I
that's
don't.
unfortunate, but I do think that's the reality.
And at this point, I really think this is just going to look terrible on both sides. Um, I think it looks bad already on the Bengals side. I think by the end of this, it could look bad on the Shamar Stewart side.
I
Um,
think depending on what he chooses to do.
yeah. So we'll keep you updated on the situation as things happen.
Yeah.
Um, but currently, it's not great. It's not great. Um, as we said, we were
Right.
going to talk about second round picks. We'll just do that really quickly.
Yeah.
Um, everyone's kind of freaking out because all but 2 second round picks were potentially going to hold out of training camp. This is because the Houston Texans and Cleveland Browns had the first 2 picks of the second round, and they both gave their second round picks fully guaranteed contracts. That has never happened. Second round picks don't get fully guaranteed contracts. That is just a thing in the NFL that's been happening forever. It's only the first round. After the 2 fully guaranteed contracts, the entire second round and all their agents and everything wanted fully guaranteed contracts. Rightly so. Kind of. That was the precedent the Browns and Texans were about to set until the San Francisco 49ers yesterday signed Alfred Collins to a non fully guaranteed contract. He was their second round pick. And that pretty much snowballed everything. So now second round picks are signing like every 10 minutes. I feel like there's a new second round pick being signed. It just took one to pretty much say nah, and it kind of cleared up. I was fully prepared to come on here yesterday. Uh, like I was thinking about how I was being like, let's not worry, this is what's happening. And then the 49ers kind of kicked it off. I will talk more about this specific situation when we get to Seattle, because I think Seattle's situation might be different. We'll kind of see when we get there. So I'll talk
Yeah.
more specifics with Seattle in a second. Um, but yeah, that's the situation with the second round picks. It's kind of resolved already. Um, so there you go.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then really quickly, because this just broke, we got breaking news. The Portland Trailblazers have signed Damian Lillard to a 3-year, $42 million contract. So Damian Lillard returns to Portland, where he started his career. So congrats to him. Obviously, he just tore his Achilles, so he will not play this year. But Portland reunites with Damian Lillard. Pretty cool. Kind of a bit of a random thing since we're doing NFL, but it broke like 15 minutes ago.
We're chill. We just roll with it. I'm sitting on my hip. No, good for him.
Yeah. Kind of surprised he ended up getting a contract this soon, considering the situation he's in. But clearly, Portland wanted the reunion, didn't really care. So there you go. Damian Lillard is off the market. We'll go back to the NFL now.
Cool. I think now we'll start Ravens conversation.
Yep.
I was prepared to come on here and rant, and I'm still going to do that, by the way. We haven't fully eliminated it. We're just now only ranting about one thing instead of two. Because Mike Green was one of them that was holding out. He was in the building, but he wasn't signing a contract because he wanted it fully guaranteed. Now, look. The first two picks of the second round are basically the first round. You just don't get the fifth-year option. So I am not saying that for those teams, that's not fine to do. Everybody else, you were a second-round pick for a reason. Mike Green was lucky to get picked in the second round and has other problems, so I kind of think you should shut the fuck up, sit down, and sign the deal given to you, and just say thank you.
Which is pretty much what he did after everybody else did. So
yeah. So now that, like Brennan said, it's kind of ended with the 49ers, Mike Green did sign his contract with the Baltimore Ravens. It is not fully guaranteed. It was never going to be. That is not how the Ravens do business. They take full advantage of rookie contracts. If you're going to get money from them on that deal, it comes with your signing bonus. And that's just kind of how that works. So, glad it got done. That does mean that all of the rookies have signed their contracts, or at least all of the draft picks have signed their contracts and are inked and ready to start training camp, which is the 23rd. But I was prepared to be pissed off. As for the Ravens themselves, there's nothing going on. Because there's nothing going on. Mark Andrews stayed in Baltimore and held a camp. He does that a lot. He operates within a lot of foundations. So that was good to see. He looks to be in great shape. He's excited. But before training camp, there's nothing going on. However, on a league level, there is some things that happened that are insane. Okay.
I don't know why you put so much stock into this thing that you're going to bring up.
I don't put a lot of stock in it, but we're going to talk about it.
All right. Let's hear it. Let's hear the rant.
ESPN does a ranking of quarterbacks on their own. Which is fine. It's fine. It's NFL executives, scouts, coaches, all of these things. And they rank quarterbacks. And then they take everybody's rankings by everybody, and they average them out, and you get an insane level of stupidity and list. And so we're just going to comment on that. So the official ranking for quarterbacks was Patrick Mahomes, multiple Super Bowls, multiple MVPs. This generation's Tom Brady. Hard to argue with, right?
Number one, yeah, it makes sense.
Fair. It's fair. Number two, Josh Allen. Just came off his first MVP season.
I think recency bias.
Snuffed. Well, and he keeps, he plays well in the playoffs. It's just kind of, he can't get past the Brady. He can't get past Mahomes. It's fair.
And then
I
again,
see it. I get it.
recent MVP.
Yeah. Number 3.
This is the fun one.
Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay. If you look at Burrow's passing numbers compared to Lamar Jackson's, they actually are different. Just last year, Lamar had the better passer rating. Burrow averaged a little bit more yards per game, but Lamar averaged more yards per attempt. And when you play from behind because you lose, which is what Bengals were doing last year, you have to throw the ball more. Head-to-head matchups, Lamar is 6-1 against Joe Burrow. Well, Dallas, Joe Burrow's been to the Super Bowl. Okay. Joe Burrow's also missed the playoffs the last 2 years. You know who hasn't missed the playoffs? Lamar Jackson. So, with Burrow in at 3rd, Lamar Jackson comes in at number 4. His lowest rank was 6. His ranking last year was 4th. I'm confused. Because are we all watching the same football?
I mean, I'm watching him lose in the playoffs.
Cool. At least he made the playoffs. Has 2 MVPs. Him and Burrow's passing numbers are almost identical.
I don't think Burrow's
Lamar had the better touchdown to interception ratio, and none of that takes into account Lamar's rushing ability. So I understand that we like Burrow. But if we do not start ranking Lamar accurately, I'm going to freak out. You want to have Allen above him? Honestly, I don't care. Allen makes the playoffs, he gets further in the playoffs, and he plays better in the playoffs than Lamar does. That's hard to argue with. Lamar has one more MVP, I don't care. Lamar Jackson is coming off a historic season. And we put somebody that didn't even make the playoffs above him is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's disrespectful. I'm moving on.
Are you
like
sure?
Like Brennan said, it doesn't really matter.
Mainly because
I just find it incredibly rude, and I think we're not watching the same football. I don't think we are.
Because what I've decided, by the way, for anything that's voted on by execs, coaches, players, whatever, like currently the top 100 in the NFL is going on. And we covered it last year. I've given up on it because it is the single worst list I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In my life.
I kind of thought maybe we'd talk top 10.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
See how that
we'll see. But what I'm seeing out of this list is, I mean, just atrocious so far.
It's atrocious.
What I've decided with these execs and stuff is they kind of vote based off who pisses them off the least. In terms of once you get past a certain point. So, like, obviously, Mahomes. Kind of undeniably number 1 right now. Like,
yeah.
No question. Josh Allen, I think recency bias on him winning his first MVP and what he's done beyond that in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. I see him being 2 currently. But then I think after those 2, where you have recent MVP and undeniably number 1, I can't even argue or question it. You look like an idiot if you say otherwise.
Yeah.
I think you then look at it as Lamar Jackson just has a way of making every team look stupid because he was the 32nd pick, so every team passed on him, other than the Ravens.
Who did still pass on him, by the way. Technically.
Well, they drafted him at least. So
they did draft him, but they did pass on him. He was not their first pick that round.
Yeah. But my point being, at a certain point, he just, for whatever reason, pisses teams off because he is who he is. His rushing ability and his unorthodox way of playing quarterback. I'm going to say unorthodox because he's a great rusher, and that's just not something we see.
Yeah.
Whereas Joe Burrow is a more traditional, natural quarterback. And he wasn't, well, the Bengals weren't very good last year. So teams aren't pissed off by the Bengals or what Joe Burrow's doing when he has a relatively, he had a really good season last year. So I'll take that away from him. The offense was not the problem in Cincinnati. Now, don't get me wrong.
No.
You still weren't winning games, but the offense wasn't necessarily the problem. So yeah, I do think this is Lamar Jackson is just not liked. And truthfully, it's just because of how unorthodox he is.
And that...
And how much better he is than a lot of other players.
That enrages me. And I don't like Mahomes, right? Because I don't like the Chiefs. I want the Ravens to win. The Chiefs are an annoying thorn in my side. Growing up a Broncos fan, I didn't like Tom Brady. But I'll be damned if I sit there and go, it's not Mahomes. You sound stupid.
Again, I think it's stupid. I think the argument's dumb. I truly think the reason he's always ranked low is because he's not a traditional quarterback. He doesn't play the quarterback in a traditional manner. And you have a lot of older voters. I don't disagree. But
Jalen Hurts plays more like Lamar Jackson and just won the Super Bowl.
But he's also ranked pretty low, if I recall correctly.
Josh Daniels. Yeah, Josh. Why does that not sound right?
Jalen Daniels.
Jalen Daniels.
Yeah.
Made it to the NFC's championship as a rookie. You want to know who he looks like?
And yet he was also ranked lower than I thought he should be. So, again,
I just think, especially because it's anonymous, right? Let's just be honest. And the honesty is, and the truth is, Lamar Jackson is at minimum, third.
Yeah.
I have him second. As unbiased as I would like to try to be, I can see third. You can make an argument for third. If you prefer Allen, fine. They are not that different.
Because at the end of the day, Allen does have rushing ability. Now,
yeah.
What the argument is...
Allen's a tank. Lamar...
is finesse.
Yeah.
Allen's going to run through you. Different. Lamar's going to run around you.
But... Fine. Have Allen second. I disagree. Whatever. He's not fourth. And there's absolutely no evidence and no stat that you can point to me that says he's fourth.
There really isn't. And that's
especially when he was fourth last year, or the year before, coming off his MVP. His second, by the way.
That's the one I think is insane, is the last year's ranking.
If we're going to use that, that's kind of why Allen is naturally second. He's coming off the MVP. The year Lamar came off his, he was fourth.
Again,
Lamar's coming off a historic season. He's fourth. That's insane.
I have given up on pretty much any national media writing because I think they all suck at this point in time. They all
That's fair. That's why we do a podcast.
This is why. If you're wondering, it's because we think the national media sucks. This is why I don't watch talk shows. I don't really look at national media like at all.
I watched one and he lost it like I did.
And that's fair. Again, I agree that he is absolutely not fourth. You can make the argument for third. I personally have him second. And I'm not a Ravens fan.
No, he's not. He does not give a shit.
I really don't. I joke about Lamar because
Yeah.
I can. It's funny. I don't know. It's like
Because that's what brothers do, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't have one, this
'cause-
is joys.
because yeah, this is the fun part. But I'm also not an idiot and can recognize that he is better than the vast majority of the NFL.
Yeah. I understand. And I am not immune to the playoff criticism. I have it. I have concerns. I have frustrations. I was as close to throwing something as I have ever been last year. And I have a little foam football.
For that reason.
Yeah, for that. And I don't even throw it. I have concerns. I think there are valid criticisms. And then there's invalid disrespect. And that's what this list was.
So, if you want a legit good list, tune in for when we do quarterback rankings, hosted
Yes.
by me.
Hot take. Lamar's going to be second.
Probably.
Maybe third, because Brendan does that list.
I do, for reference, when I'll explain it when we get to the actual list. But I do actually put more stock into the prior year.
Yeah.
And what they should be going into it. So maybe Josh Allen's MVP sways me into second. I don't think it will. I'll do more stuff once we get there. But he will not, I can't confirm, be fourth.
Will not be lower than third. Then we will fight. We will fight on camera.
Maybe I'll just put him at fifth.
I'll lose my motherfucking mind.
But I'm trying to think of who, like, a fourth quarterback ahead of him is, and seriously, I don't think I could do it.
I know who you do to piss me off.
Oh, yeah. I know who I would do to piss you off. I know exactly. But
alright, well, now with my rant out of the way, Brennan, talk to us about the Seahawks.
Alright, so the Seahawks. We have not done a shit ton as the Seahawks. They did announce some players that are going onto the PUP list to start training camp. That would be their 5th round pick, Riley Mills. Obviously, tore his ACL during the college football playoffs. I didn't expect him to be ready at all for training camp. They also have UDFA corners Alexander, UDFA wide receiver Tyrone Broden, UDFA receiver Montori Foster, UDFA linebacker Derek Jackson, and then UDFA corner Isis Wagner. All the UDFAs are hurt. Not really sure why, not sure how, but that's pretty much where we're at. They also announced that Uchenna Owosu, one of their pass rushers, is going to start out on the PUP list. That's not that surprising. He did have that knee injury kind of aggravate towards the end of the season. I expect him to participate in training camp at some point. I would not be surprised if he's elevated from that, like within the first week of training camp. Obviously, starting here on the 23rd, but he is going to start off on the PUP list. So, beyond that, really no big names. Obviously, Riley Mills and Wosu are the two big ones. But Riley Mills was never expected to not start on the PUP list, and Uchenna Owosu I kind of figured would. There was a chance he didn't, but I was under the impression that he was going to from the start. Other than that, it's UDFAs. Some of them are interesting to me as people that could be depth, that could end up possibly making the 53-man roster, but honestly, they're all kind of nobodies. So, I'm not too worried about what's currently going on with injuries in Seattle. Beyond that, not a whole ton else. They have not signed either of their second round picks yet. I think Arroyo will be signed, if not today, tomorrow. He was kind of in the middle of the second round, and based on how everything's falling, he'll end up signing a non-fully guaranteed contract. The one that might take longer and might end up waiting until training camp is Nick Emenwari, and the reason is he was the third overall pick in the second round. So the two players ahead of him both got guaranteed contracts. Because of the chips falling, he might sign a non-guaranteed. I think he has an argument to be fully guaranteed. I really hope this holdout, because he's not currently in Seattle, he did not report with the other rookies along with Arroyo. I hope this holdout doesn't go too far into camp. I'm not worried about him not signing. The Seahawks don't tend to have holdout problems, but they have in the past, and they get rectified pretty quickly if they end up going into training camp. They're not like the Bengals. They don't have these problems. I can guarantee you the reason these two are holding out currently is guarantees. That is it. It's the only reason. There's nothing else to it. It's Emenwari wants fully guaranteed, and Arroyo wants fully guaranteed. Emenwari might have an argument for it. Arroyo, not really, especially with some injury concerns in college. I expect Arroyo to just sign the contract in front of him. Literally in the coming days. If it does not break today that he signed, I think it will tomorrow or by the end of the weekend. I don't see this lasting very long. Emenwari, on the other hand, it could. Again, the two players drafted in front of him both got guaranteed. He might have an argument. Seattle might have to look more into that and might have to meet that fully guaranteed. We'll see. Obviously, with the dominoes falling that players aren't getting fully guaranteed, that should help their case. But that's where Seattle's at there. Not a ton of news, which is good. Obviously, don't want to hear players holding out, especially Emenwari, considering he is kind of a project. But at the end of the day, I think he'll be back pretty quickly into training camp. And truthfully, I'm not that worried with a Mike McDonald-led defense. So that's where we're at. Injury-wise, they're fine. Again, training camp starts the 23rd. Rookies have already reported because they can report early. Everyone else showed up. Everyone else is under contract. So that's where we're at. Not a ton going on, but pretty all right. Not thrilled, but all right.
I didn't mention it. I guess I will. The only person currently on the Ravens pup list is Ardarius Washington.
Okay.
Everybody else is on non-football injury or just not. And the big name there is Emory Jones, who is expected to hopefully make his debut part of the way through training camp.
Nice.
So everybody else is on NFI rather than PUP because they're expected during training camp.
Yeah. That's, I think, where Seattle's at for the most part. Most of these guys should be back, but we'll see.
Yeah, the only one is Ardarius because
And
we know that's not happening.
Yeah, we all knew that was going to. And the pup list now, I think, as long as you're deemed good during training camp, you can return. It's after training camp that it becomes the 4 weeks. You have to wait until after the start of the season to be officially deemed ready to play. So, obviously for the Seahawks that are on the pup list, it matters less, except for Nwosu. But I do expect him to be off that in training camp.
Nice. Alrighty. Well, if that does it for breaking news, Ravens and Seahawks, we will get into our breakdown of the NFC. No, fuck me. We will get
AFC.
into our breakdown of the AFC East, starting with the Buffalo Bills,
Yep.
whose quarterback was ranked second.
So on to the Bills. We'll start with their cap space as always. I'm very confused by their cap space situation. I don't really understand. I'm not well versed in how cap space really works, like where this is coming from. But they are listed to have only $100,000 in cap space. I'm a little confused by that. I don't know if there are moves that they're going to do to have cap space going into the season, but that is not enough for the season, like at all. You need a couple million just to get through the season. So a little confused by that, but since I am not well versed in how cap situations work, I'm going to leave it there. There's probably things they're going to do to fix that situation. I have faith that the Bills are at least a somewhat competent franchise. Uh, Beyond that, I'm not that worried about that.
I would think trading or releasing Vaughn would have helped.
I'm just unsure if there's like it just hasn't updated on certain things, if certain things are being counted differently than I expected them to be. I am not really sure. Again, I just don't know enough about how cap is counted and how things like how certain things are calculated. So if I knew more, I could help. I just don't. I'm going off of what people that are smarter than me are telling me. So, and they're saying 100,000. I wouldn't be that worried. Again, the Bills have kind of proven that they're a somewhat competent franchise. They make the playoffs a lot. They've done pretty well. So, not worried there. In terms of their free agents, they, I think, had a pretty decent free agency. We'll start with what they brought in, what they kept. They obviously gave Josh Allen that huge extension that kicks in next year. So that's all good for them. They bring in Joey Bosa from the Chargers. Obviously, pretty decent there. Should kind of help their defense. They bring back Matt Milano, their linebacker. That's really big. He's very needed. They bring in Larry Ogunjobi from the Steelers. However, he's suspended for the start of the season. I think he was suspended for performance enhancing. So that's unfortunate, but that's something they brought in. They brought back Tre'Davious White from the Ravens. Corner, they brought in Dane Jackson, corner from the Bills. They bring in Shaq Thompson, a linebacker from the Panthers. Michael Hoyt, an edge from the Rams. He is also suspended to start the season. I believe for the same thing Ogunjobi was suspended for, so they won't see him right away. Kind of unfortunate that those two both had the same issue. I feel like you would do that before you sign them, but who knows? Greg Rousseau got a contract extension, so he's still with the team. They bring in Elijah Moore, wide receiver, and then beyond that, it's a lot of just kind of smaller names. No one really that big there. In terms of who they lost, not a ton of losses. Amari Cooper doesn't stay with the team. He's currently a free agent. Obviously, they let Von Miller go. He just signed with the Commanders. Rasul Douglas, he, I believe, is still a free agent. Could resign with the Bills if they wanted. I don't think so. I think they kind of solidified their corner depth already. They sent Kyer Elam to the Cowboys in a trade. They did not re-sign Mac Hollins. He went to the Patriots. They didn't re-sign Dwayne Smoot, their edge. He went to the Jags. They didn't re-sign their punter, Sam Martin. I do know they brought another one in, so they're good there. That's pretty much it. for notable departures from the Bills. So overall, not a bad free agency. A team that is close to the Chiefs. I don't think they did enough this free agency for me to feel confident that they will surpass the Chiefs. So take that for what you will. I just don't know if they did enough. Draft picks wise, they did have quite a few. Their first round pick, corner Maxwell Harrison. I know he had some off field issues recently. I'm not really sure what happened and what came of it. Haven't heard anything. Don't know. They didn't have a second round pick, but they did have a third, Landon Jackson edge. Or no, they did have a second, TJ Sanders. I don't think he's signed yet. I missed that. Then again, edge Landon Jackson. They brought in another couple D tackles. Really, they had plenty of picks. I think that's good. I think you want a ton of picks in this draft.
Yeah.
So I think that was good. Who they brought in, again, Harrison, Sanders, and Jackson as their first three picks. Pretty solid. They definitely beefed up their defense, which I found very interesting. I didn't really think defense was going to be where they went in the draft, but I think they have faith in that offense currently under Josh Allen. So, I don't know.
So, before I get into my side of things, this is not meant in any kind of way. It is my genuine kind of opinion of the Bills. The Ravens play not great football during the playoffs. I think it's a mental thing. I think it's you see too many mistakes that they don't usually have. The Bills play well in the playoffs. It's just not enough. So while I don't think there's a piece for the Ravens that's going to fix it, I thought they would do more from the Bills' perspective to try and get over that hurdle.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that. I also know that while Brent and I are highly critical of national media, as we saw and have seen, the big thing last year was that Allen didn't really have any weapons. To not focus offensively in the draft or the offseason tells me they disagree. So I don't want to hear for another year about what Allen is doing without the talent around him. Just because players don't have superstar names does not mean they don't have good weapons.
Yeah.
And I think that is oftentimes a trap national media falls into. Well, he doesn't have Jamar Chase, so he doesn't have a really great number one receiver. Okay, well, one person has Jamar Chase. One person has Justin Jefferson. Like, just because you don't have those names does not mean you don't have very talented wide receiver rooms.
And I'll say his wide receiver room is fine. Like, I do think adding a true I don't want to say elite, adding a true number one to that room
could have been beneficial.
I think actually would have been one of the key pieces to them really challenging in the playoffs, giving Josh Allen that real, like, I can hit you on any down and you are my guy.
But there are also reasons they didn't do that. And they don't have one right now.
So
I thought they would do more offensively. That is a criticism of defensive-led teams and defensive head coaches. So we'll see. Josh Allen is a great quarterback. They made it to the AFC Championship last year. I don't think the wide receiver room or the offense is an excuse for the Bills.
At this point,
and they have a very easy schedule.
Yes.
So
that does have to do with how bad their division is. But
yeah, no, yeah. On to NFLPA grades. The NFLPA site will not allow me to look at the in depth. So I have a screenshot and kind of like a snippet that I found to still get into it, but I don't know. The site is locked or it's down or I don't know. So, Buffalo Bills. I'm a little confused. No, I'm sorry. Never mind. They were not the one I was confused by. Buffalo Bills. Overall ranking 23rd. Their highest grade was weight room, A, and they came in as 7th. I can't look into any further of that. Their lowest grade was team travel with an F minus, and they came in at 32nd. Head coach was 27th with a B. Ownership was 17th. Treatment of families, because that was a big one last week. They came in at 9th at a B plus. Players aren't happy with teams' travel accommodations for away games, giving the team an F minus in that category, while also saying the training and physical therapy staff is inadequate. The good news is the weight room and head coach Sean McDermott received high marks. 27th doesn't seem high to me, but okay. Unfortunately, I can't get into it any deeper. So that's it for the Bills.
fair. I think the Bills overall are going to keep contending. Obviously, their schedule.
Oh, I got it. Hold on. It
Oh,
finally, it
oh,
works.
oh,
It
oh,
works.
oh,
Okay.
oh, oh,
Okay.
oh, oh, oh.
So because we talked about treatment of families, they provide daycare and a
Okay,
family room. So
cool.
they're one of the teams that is not like go fuck yourself, and your
Not
family.
not some
So
cheap.
team travel. As mentioned in the overview, players feel that team travel continues to be the worst part of their experience. Players do not have a comfortable amount of space when traveling, and the travel schedule itself is a source of significant dissatisfaction. The players believe their team travel schedule is inefficient, a rank of 32 out of 32. 35% of players feel they have a comfortable amount of personal space on team flights, a rank of 32 out of 32. That's pretty shitty.
So they're cheap in a weird way.
Yeah. They're cheap in a non-disrespectful way.
Yeah.
And they seem to provide food. That doesn't
Well,
seem to be
there
an
you go.
area
There
of
you go.
contention.
So they take care of families and provide food. So could be
But
worse.
not the best flights, and it's inefficient.
All right. Well, I guess
I wish there was a little more information on that. Not to minimize anything, I sometimes wonder if weather has to do with schedule. They do quite a bit of travel because of where they're located. I'm just not sure. But that's their kind of biggest point of contention.
Yeah.
And then as for head coach and ownership, head coach would be 88% of players believe their head coach, Sean McDermott, is efficient with their time, a rank of 24. Players feel that McDermott is moderately receptive to locker room feedback, ranking him 27th. It doesn't seem like a lot of these middle coaches.
I think unfortunately are all like together, so it
Yeah,
brings
and I think
everybody
if
down.
On a 53-man roster, if 40 say he's efficient, and then for another team, 42, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Say it like it just kind of bumps you down. I think they all kind of sit in the same space. It's just a numbers game at that point.
Yeah. Like
Um
I think you can tell a
rather
lot
than
based on if like the few coaches that got 100% in that category. I think tells more
yeah,
than coaches that got less than.
or if you did really badly,
Yeah,
that's different.
like I think the extremes.
Yeah, are the interesting ones. Everybody else, you all kind of sit in the same space. Um, ownership, Terry Pagula, average rating for perceived willingness to invest in the facility is an 8.4 out of 10, ranking him 18th. Players feel that ownership moderately contributes to a positive team culture. Players believe that ownership is committed to building a competitive team, a rank of 18 out of 32. I'm be perfectly honest with you. I don't think their owner is involved. Um,
I don't know.
I didn't even know his name.
I
And I
don't.
don't
I
like
don't know
he's
half
not
the
one we
owners in the league
hear
though,
about. Like
and I think that's
I
a good
just
thing.
don't think yeah, I just don't think I don't think he's overwhelmingly involved. I could be wrong. If I am misspoken on that, I apologize. I just don't think that he is.
So for reference, I know like 6 owners. One of which is the Seahawks, one of which is the Ravens because we talk about
Yeah,
them. One of which is obviously the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys, Steelers, the Jets, and the Giants are the
fair enough.
4 other than the teams we talked about. Part of that is the Giants were just on Hard Knocks. Kind of got the owner there. And then the other 3 have all had issues in terms of being too meddling in their team.
Yeah,
So it's probably a good thing we don't know who the owner is. Just want to throw that out
that's
there.
fair. So yeah, I just don't know.
I,
I can't comment on that much. I That's the best I got, as I'm not convinced that he's overly involved. But again, the best owners are. They invest in the
mildly.
facility, and they just kind of
And they're there occasionally. They poke their head in.
yeah,
They say hey. You know, they might know every player by name. But beyond that, they're
they're just kind of there.
you see them occasionally in the facility. But
Yeah.
that's probably the best way to be an owner.
Alrighty. Well, let's move on to the Miami Dolphins, who came
Let's.
second in their division.
Yep. So Miami has $2 million in cap space remaining. Um, I think a lot of that has to deal with the fact that the trades they've made are not fully updated yet. So I don't know what it is after that. Like obviously there are some dead cap numbers. I think they have the most players with dead cap of any team in the league. I count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 players that are counting towards your cap that are
Yeah.
no longer on the team. Um, that's a lot. That's not very
Yeah.
good. So, not really sure what that means for the team, but that's where they're at. In terms of free agency, the Dolphins overall, I don't know how good it is or bad it is. Jalen Ramsey, or we'll start with who they kept, who they brought in. They re-signed Bradley Chubb, so he's back, the edge rusher. I do believe he's coming off of injury, so we'll see how much he does and how much he can contribute. But he is back. Obviously, they received Minka Fitzpatrick in a trade with the Steelers. They also signed Steelers right guard James Daniels earlier in this free agency. They bring in Zach Wilson to be their backup quarterback from the Broncos. They re-signed Terrell Dodson, the linebacker that they received last year. So he's back. They bring in Pharaoh Brown, the tight end from the Seahawks. They bring in linebacker Willie Gay Jr. from the Saints. Safety Ashton Davis from the Jets. They re-signed their center Liam Eichenberg, and they bring in wide receiver Nikhil Westbrook Akine from the Titans. Beyond that, just some smaller names, stuff that matters less. Players that probably aren't going to make the roster. Um, Who they lost? Obviously, in the trade, they received Minka Fitzpatrick. They gave up Jalen Ramsey, so he's no longer with the team. They also did not re-sign Kendall Fuller, the cornerback. He is still a free agent, so he could be signed. In the trade as well was Jonnu Smith, so he's now with the Steelers. They let Raheem Mostert go. He signed with the Raiders. They let Emmanuel Ogba go to the Jaguars. Right tackle Kendall Lamb to the Eagles. Safety Javon Holland, one of their better defenders, to the Giants. And then Braxton Berrios, one of their wide receivers, to the Texans. And then I think another big one is Jordan Poyer, safety, hasn't been signed, is still available. And then Calais Campbell signed with the Cardinals. Beyond that, nobody important. So overall, kind of even.
I feel like it's a wash.
Yeah. Like you lost a safety in Javon Holland, you bring in a safety in Minka Fitzpatrick. I will say I think they definitely got worse at corner. I don't really see a big name corner addition after losing Jalen Ramsey. But beyond that, it's a wash. You lose Jonnu Smith, bring in Pharaoh Brown. You lose you bring in a better backup quarterback, which for them might actually be important. Especially a young guy that has some potential. Could be important for them with the uncertainty that is Tua Tagovailoa's health. So overall, I think it's a wash in terms of free agency, but they did make some moves that I'm like, all right, I kind of see the vision. And there were some that leave me with more questions than
confused.
I expected. In terms of draft, I think they had a pretty decent one. First round pick, they bring in defensive tackle Kenneth Grant. I think that's big. Second, they bring in Jonas Savanaia, guard. I think that's another big one. He has not signed yet. He's still holding out. And then from there, it's late round picks, fifths, and then the seventh round pick is the only other one I'll mention because it was Quinn Ewers, the quarterback out of Texas. So not very many big names. Obviously, your first two picks were a first and a second, and then nothing in between beyond fifth rounders. So two, I think, really solid picks at the top. We'll see if they hit in that fifth, sixth round, and then we'll see if Quinn Ewers develops and can be a solid quarterback out of the seventh or even a backup out of the seventh. But beyond that, not the best draft, but they did have quite a few picks in a decent draft when it comes to depth. So if they can hit on those
Something
picks.
Something they definitely needed.
So if some of those picks hit, they'll be feeling pretty good. But their first two picks I really like in the trenches where that team needed the most help. So
yeah, overall,
not a bad draft.
Alrighty. Well, some interesting things for NFLPA.
Okay.
The Dolphins earned the top ranking in player satisfaction for the second straight year.
All right.
Their lowest grade was 6th. In treatment of families, they were 3rd, provided daycare and a homeroom. In nutrition and dietitian, they were 2nd. Locker room, 4th. Head coach, 6th. Every other category, they were 1st. Head coach, 98% of players feel their head coach, Mike McDaniel, is efficient with their time. Players feel that McDaniel is highly receptive to locker room feedback. But they were 1st in literally every category except for those 5. I'm sorry, 5.
Fair enough.
So, I have made the argument that I think when you don't win, you see more complaints. The counter to that is when you care more about spending money on a team, facility, and amenities, how committed to winning are you? I believe that when McDaniel was hired, there was a vision for this team and an identity that he wanted to have.
Mm-hmm.
And that identity was speed, was efficiency, a little bit of finesse. Unfortunately, found out the hard way that two things have to occur. One, your quarterback has to stay healthy, which they've struggled with. And two, when you meet teams with more physical or aggressive identities, finesse loses. Especially when finesse can't be played in the cold.
Yeah.
So I think there was an identity. That identity just doesn't work for the long term
Yeah.
of a football season. I thought this year we would see maybe a shift. I think we saw it with the draft picks, saw some depth in the trenches. We also saw some size in the trenches, which has not been their strong suit. They still have glaring questions
I think
at
there's a lot,
quarterback
but
and at wide receiver. I think McDaniel is a good head coach. I think he keeps them motivated. I think he keeps a lot of what could be bigger problems in the locker room pretty tamped down. Um, but this team has to change its identity. And that's hard to do when you don't change head coaches or GMs.
yeah.
We will see. And you have a coach that calls a side of the ball. I
Truthfully,
think when you have coaches like John Harbaugh or Detroit's Dan Campbell, who don't have a side of the ball, they hire coordinators. It's a little easier to shift identity because you can bring in coordinators to execute certain things. When you have a head coach that is offensive minded and you have a system built around your quarterback and your roster, it's hard to shift.
yes.
I think if he can accomplish it, and we can see them make the playoffs and win a game or two, it will be extremely impressive. I think all the respect would be given to him. I'm just not sure how much more time he has in Miami. They're not known for firing head coaches that don't have problems.
Yeah.
And the locker room
Clearly
seems
doesn't
to
have.
rally behind him. So I thought maybe he was going into the season on the hot seat. This tells me otherwise. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. Truthfully, I don't see any way this team competes because they start out really hot. They
Yeah.
are always kind of in it at the beginning, and you think, wow, look at the Dolphins. But then when physicality and the season-long grind finally catches up to them, you can tell that their identity isn't good enough.
It just doesn't hold up. So, and I don't think roster-wise they did enough to go from finesse to physicality.
I don't think they did really anything to do that. Like, obviously, I think in the trenches in their draft, sure. But I
Yeah,
think the defensive tackle they drafted, granted, I think he is a more powerful player, but he also wins a lot more with finesse and is somebody I wish would use more aggression at the D tackle position.
that's fair.
We'll see. Obviously, this was coming from a Michigan team. He was very talented. He does have the ability to, and I think he might moving into this. But I don't know if the Dolphins' identity will force him to do that. So we'll kind of see there. Again, I really think their problem is going to continue to be the back half of the season where the finesse isn't good enough and you have to show some backbone and they just don't
Yeah,
have that toughness or that character, I guess, to say to kind of pull through. And that's why the Bills, despite sometimes not being the best throughout the whole season, do come up and
dominate their division.
catch them. There was a couple years last year the Bills just dominated,
Yeah.
but there's been a couple
The year
years,
before, though, we really thought the Bills and the Dolphins were going to fight for it.
and then the Dolphins just ran out of gas. Well, I don't even want to
Yeah,
say they just push came to shove, and the finesse failed, and the Bills are a more physically tough team.
yeah.
So that's how I feel about the
I
Dolphins right
think
now.
being in Miami is a disadvantage, but from a player satisfaction standpoint,
It's an
it's an
advantage.
advantage. Who doesn't love Miami?
Yeah. So
Um, you got beautiful people, beautiful weather, beaches.
especially in the
It's a
winter.
great time.
Especially
Like,
in the
yeah.
winter. Like summer,
But then,
no, I'm so good. But the winter, where it's cooled off a little bit, Miami's not a bad
but
place.
to play a winter sport outside. Now, what I will find interesting, we didn't talk about this a moment ago, so I'm going to do it now. The Bills are building a new stadium, which will have a roof.
Hmm.
So weather won't quite be the factor that it's been in Buffalo.
Which I
So
think is
now the game, the two games between Buffalo and Miami are not always division deciders, right? You have a whole season. I do think if Miami can get better, then that will help the Dolphins.
we'll see.
So
I'm very curious on that roof situation because I think part of what makes Buffalo really hard to play in is the weather. So putting a roof on it, I don't know if that makes sense for Buffalo unless it's retractable.
I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I think they've been building it for a while. I think as much as Buffalo fans rally and continue to show up, the delays in games, the postpones,
Like I get it,
the like there's a level of
you need it. I think it should be retractable.
I'm sure that it will be. I don't know that
They'll
you're going to get what you want out of that. Like I think if it's snowing the roof is getting shut.
and that's fine if it's snowing, shut the roof. But if it's cold and just cold, I'd have it open.
It's fair.
Especially if Miami's coming.
Yeah, like
And
if I
truthfully,
just open it just to be like, it's
and
our advantage.
and truthfully, if it's snowing and Miami's in town, I'm still opening it. I'm taking that risk of it
We'll
being
see.
postponed because I think like, one, it's a rivalry, so it's just kind of petty and fun.
Yeah.
Two, it is an actual advantage.
Or at least, okay, like last year, I don't think it was Miami they were playing. I don't remember who they were playing. But like you had the fans out there shoveling for hours.
Yeah. So close it
Maybe
ahead,
close it and then before the game
like
or during the
at
game, open it.
like right before kickoff, like 30 minutes before
Yeah,
kickoff, or however long it takes to open the roof.
the roof. Because that
Open
takes
it,
time. Takes time.
and then you don't have the full accumulation of the snow, but you still get a snow game, which
You
one
get the
is
advantage.
fun. Two, it is an actual advantage when you know how to play in it. So that's my opinion.
So
But
yeah, it will be interesting to see if and how Buffalo uses their new stadium to their advantage, or if it will be a more cut and dry. If this is the weather, it's closed. If it's not, we open it. So
so we'll see. I have no idea how their new stadium is going to be. I didn't even know they were building a new stadium.
yep.
Well, that's cool, I guess. But we'll see.
A couple people are building new ones. A couple teams are simply improving their current one, and some teams
I don't know what they're doing.
would really rather you rent out the local high school's field because they don't want to put money into it at all. So different types of people.
We won't name names. we won't name names.
Um,
But yeah, I
but yeah,
think that does it for the Dolphins and
cool.
our this week's review. Um, anything else? Anything?
I did actually. I had one. I had one. Just a random thing that happened. Oh, two things. Two
Okay.
things.
Okay.
For boxing fans, the Taylor Serrano and for boxing fans, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano had their third fight throughout their career this past week. It was like it was like the day after we recorded the podcast last week. Katie Taylor did come out on top by decision. They were tied across two judges' sheets, and so one judge was the deciding factor, and Taylor did come out on top. This comes before the news that this might be Taylor's final fight. Look, these women have both done extremely great things for women's boxing. I was kind of rooting for Serrano. Didn't come out that way. It was a great fight. Both are very talented. Both are extremely accomplished in their field. It was great to see. I doubt we will see this fight ever again, whether Taylor or Serrano retires, regardless. But I did watch it. It was a good fight. It was a good time. And yeah, Taylor came out
Cool.
on top to
Cool.
add to her plethora of awards and gold medals and things like that. So congratulations to her and to
Awesome.
boxing fans. I hope you enjoyed it the way I did. Whilst waiting for this boxing match, I went to dinner with my family at a sports bar, and they had the rodeo on. And what I have never noticed, so this is a
Okay.
completely random tidbit,
Okay.
is the way it's stated. I was watching horsebuck riding.
Mm-hmm.
And I have never noticed until now that it is rider versus horse. is how it's stated. It's not just the rider, but that it literally pops up as
Oh
verse
yeah.
the horse
Oh yeah.
and verse the bull,
Yeah.
which I greatly enjoyed. I found accurate but mildly amusing.
Oh yeah.
Um,
It's so
I
fun.
don't know what I expected it to be or what I thought it was. I think I thought it just maybe listed the writer and then how long they lasted.
That's part of
Um,
it. I think.
but well, that's the goal. Like that's the point, right?
Mhm.
Is how long do you last? How well do you keep form? All those things. But it's just verse the horse. Um,
Well, because I actually think the way the rodeo works, this is going off knowledge I had a long time ago because this was actually interesting when we lived in a place that had a rodeo.
true rodeo.
Which technically where we kind of live now does, but not really.
I
Um,
don't know.
the way it works, from my understanding, is the riders are their own subset. So you have like rider, and then it's like horse racing, where the owner of the horse or bull that rider's riding, depending on the outcome, like I think it's if the rider doesn't like however long the rider goes against the owner of the horse. So the owner of the horse's goal is for the rider to be knocked off quickly. That shows a well trained slash good horse. So I think that's why they list it as rider versus is because they are kind of going
Leading with.
going against each other in terms of the rider versus the owner, but they list it as the horse. I
Yeah.
think that's how it works. This is again going off knowledge years back.
Yeah. It was a
So,
completely random thing that I caught a portion of waiting for the
for
fight to start. And I just thought I would share.
well, I had one before we go. Mine is also fighting, but mine's MMA. I don't know if anyone's aware, but this weekend, Saturday the 19th, is Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway, part 3. So this is the first time, or the third time they are fighting each other. Obviously, this should be a great fight, and it is Dustin Poirier's last fight. He's retiring after this one, so in theory, it's his last. He could, I guess, come out of retirement if he wants to, but as of now, this will be his last fight. So I'm pretty excited to watch that one. Um, I'm more of an MMA fan than boxing, but
2. It was just this fight. And it was
gotcha,
simply because of who they are.
gotcha. But yeah, I will be watching that fight. Should be fun. Should be really good.
Yep.
That's about it, though. Um, we
Hey,
don't
I'm just excited that we had kind of random
sports
sports
going on.
news. We usually don't.
I mean, I guess if you wanted me to talk about golf, I could, or soccer,
I
but
think
truthfully, I
you
don't.
could talk soccer.
There isn't actually anything to talk about soccer, but I thought I'd mention it while I was mentioning golf because I did technically watch a
Oh,
soccer game, but
okay.
it was
I know the
um,
Rapids have started strong. That's it.
mildly.
That's my
So
soccer knowledge.
they played last night and they came back from 3-0 down. To be fair to them, so there's that. And then golf wise, nobody cares. I'm just gonna unless somebody comes in here and is like talk about golf. I'm not gonna bore everybody with golf.
We prefer you didn't, but
Now, if someone wants it, let me know.
fair
And
enough.
I can bring you
All
some
right.
golf. But that's about it.
Well, then, yeah, I believe that does it for this week. Please catch us next week. We will wrap up the AFC East
Yep.
with
The Patriots and Jets.
Patriots and the Jets. And obviously, we'll talk all other news. We are still
Yeah.
waiting for training camp to get started.
I
Hopefully,
think
maybe by the time we record this, it will
we'll
have.
see.
I'm not sure.
See when we record it.
Yeah.
But obviously, training camps tend to open July the 23rd. So we'll see if we get in before then or after then. But beyond that, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you want to see. If you're a Bills fan or a Dolphins fan, let us know how you think your team's going to do this season, how you think they did last season. Beyond that, I don't think there's anything else. So thank you all for watching. I've been Brendan.
And I've been Dallas.
Thank you all.